put the music down a little bit. How about I put the music off? That would be good. And people can go, oh, good. Stream starting soon. Oh, good. We're live with Twitch. We're live everywhere. That's good. That's great. As soon as I see them coming in. Did you watch Daryl on the telly this morning?
No, was he on this morning, was he?
He was on the ABC this morning.
Oh, good. No, I missed it.
I watched him on my phone while I was down
Excellent.
Getting something. Of course, they asked him some dumb questions, didn't they? All right, geez, they're a bit slow coming in today. Come on. Maybe because we're a bit late. Maybe they thought, stop it. So what's going on in Hollyland today?
I don't know. Same old.
I thought you were busy.
I am busy. I don't know where to start. I've got a list.
That's not the best. Well, at least you got a list.
Yeah.
Is it a list on your whiteboard, or is it in? Do you have them in your computer?
I've got a combo, so I do keep. I do have a software package to keep everything, but I also do a daily. Just write it down next to me. These are my things for today list.
And do you tick them off like on the computer? Is it like a workflow manager thing where you have to tick off? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's not workflow manager, is it?
I do my best to tick things off.
Yeah, good. All right, well let's put the countdown on and. G'day, bird nerds. It's Monday. Monday with Holly. I'm Grant. I'm a bird nerd. Hang on. That is Holly Parsons. Hello, Holly.
Hi. How's it going?
Holly, for the uninitiated, who are you?
I am the Urban Bird Program Manager at Birdlife. So do and talk all things, all things urban birds.
All right, well, we're under time pressure today, so we'll introduce the talking point, and then we'll have a look at some nice pictures that I got sent, and then we'll go back to the talking point. Okay. Holly, what I would like you to think about, and the assembled throng in the audience. What can we do to reduce the amount of indigenous plants or important habitat plants that are already existing in our urban areas? How can we stop them being removed? Because just saying don't do it doesn't seem to be working, in my view. Maybe there's some research out there that will tell me that that's not the case. But on those important urban fringe areas where we're continually losing habitat and it's not being replaced with suitable habitat to maintain our native indigenous bird populations, what can we do to use the carrot rather than the stick? approach, because the stick approach, which is you must not do it or you must have a permit, is not retaining habitat on private land. Unless someone wants to point to me to some evidence to show that I'm wrong, but that's the view that I get. So let's get to that in a minute. I know I didn't give you a million years to think about that, but Holly, this bird is turning up in Melbourne and in the sort of southern parts of the country. So that's lovely.
Lovely.
Now, who wants to ID it?
Do you want to, or do you want me to?
Oh,
I know it's a scarlet honey eater.
It is, or Myzomela, scarlet Myzomela.
Yes.
Now that looks
the
to
male.
Me to be yes, and it looks to me to be in either a jasmine, the yellow flowered jasmine, or a honeysuckle with the budding. Can't really tell, but the flowers look more like the Jasminium gelseminum. Anyway, the yellow jasmine, whichever one it is. So that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Someone's already in with a comment. Belated Mary. I'm not going to pop the comment up, but it's just one of these rubbish ones. I'm sorry to bother you while you're on a live stream. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, blah, 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 blah. So,
thanks.
That's you're really sorry to bother us. God, it's unbelievable the crap that you get sometimes. But this one came up, Holly, a bird ID. I hope my suggestion will accord with you. Maybe we need Dooley for this one.
Okay. Where was this?
Where was this? Where's Murray? Murray's. I think this was in the Sydney region.
Okay. I'm trying to look around the picture, which is not working.
Now, Riot Squad, you can jump in with your suggestions.
Yeah.
Hello, Stan. By the way, Stan's got hello, Squad. Hope you're all well. I'm well.
Yep.
So, do you want my guess?
It's not a female blackbird, is it?
I don't think so, but that would have been
no.
Depending on the time of the year.
It's a bit mottly. Yeah. What do you think it is?
Immature starling.
Oh yeah.
It's a recently fledged starling.
Yeah.
In my view.
It's got that yellow just on the side of the beak, like it looks like that sort of fledgling.
It's still got the gape, but it's that dull brown. It's got the sharp beak and the light edge primaries. And then that'll turn into that glossy iridescent black, and then maybe in 2 years, I think when they're about 2 years old, it'll have the little white plumage edges. So anyone want to throw in another one? It's the only thing I thought it could be. So and obviously I didn't see it, but I sent the email back and I just said, I think it's a juvenile starling. Does the size fit? And the reply came back, yes, the size fits. So that would have been my thought. Okay, Stan, that's a good one. I saw a small white bird of prey in my yard hunting baby blackbirds. Have not looked it up yet. Saw it perched and flying. It had bars on its tail and greyish wings. Okay, well, if it's white, I'm going. The only proviso on this for me would be you said it was small. If it's white, it's a grey goshawk. But if it's white with black shoulders, it's a black shouldered kite at your place. A very remote possibility that in common Kangaroo Island that it would be a leatherwing kite, but it's much more likely to be a black shouldered kite. They're your two options, unless it's something like it's not going to be a leucistic Nankeen kestrel hunting birds that size.
No.
So yeah, the logical. Well, let's pull it up. Let's pull up for Stan. Let's go to eBird, I guess, and go. I mean, it's really going to be a grey goshawk, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, they're just not small. Not what I would call small.
No, actually, I'm not going to go to eBird. I'm just going to type in grey goshawk, and hopefully we get a nice picture. Let's get an image, or let's see if we can even get a video. Here's a really nice. There's two nice pictures. Let's open that one in a different tab, and that one in a different tab, and there's another white one too. So let's share these. So Stan, since you're watching, have a squiz at these and see what you reckon. So that is one view of a grey goshawk.
I can't see anything, Grant. I can still see
the
fledgling.
Because I haven't brought it in yet. Oh, sorry. I do that all the time. Let's go back to this one. Here we go.
I've still got the fledgling view over the top.
Because I've got to take it off. Yes.
Yeah.
See, I'm so out of practice.
Okay.
There we are. So I know it's not a massively big picture, but that's one view. Now this is the white morph of the grey goshawk, and here I think we have a video. From Tim Six. We've looked at Tim again. So. So, can you see the video, Holly?
Yes. Yep. Got it.
Okay. So, Stan, I hope you can check this one out. Now that's the regular backyard garden variety grey goshawk, but it does come in a white morph.
Yes.
So you will see it with essentially it's white all over. So there we are. I can stop that, cancel that. Just see if we have a better shot somewhere. Oh, here's a nice one that I think we can get up. Yes, this is a. Can you see that one, Holly, now?
Yep, got it.
Okay, so Stan, that would be the suggestion. Size-wise, we're talking, there we are, between 40 and 55 centimetres length, which to me would make it Corella size. You reckon, Holly? You agree with me there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully grown Corella, maybe up to a small cockatoo. What have we got with a comment? What Stan said.
Black-shouldered.
Black-shouldered kite. Well, let's just so that people know what we're talking about, let's go with the black-shouldered kite for a minute, so people can see what we're talking about, and then we'll get on to our. Oh, here's a nice. This is a nice picture, I think. Yeah, there we go. That's a pretty typical shot. So let's bring that one in. Come on. Oh, good, and it is on a bird. So let's go there. Share screen. Black-shouldered kite on eBird. Share it. Bring it in. There we are. So that's the very typical look you'll get of a black-shouldered kite, Stan. There are some other good looks. Let's just run through them. That's what you look like when it's hovering, and it does hover.
Yep.
You'll usually see it hovering, but rather than getting blackbirds and things like that, I think you're more likely to see it getting insects. But that's the black-shouldered kite. Stan's got a crappy bird pic that he took. Okay.
Excellent.
Let's get to that. Now I have to go to the email. See, we're doing it on the fly, folks. We're doing it on the fly, but we don't mind doing this. And we'll get that. We'll get this one into the. Come on, Gmail. Work your magic. All right. I think Stan's decided what it is because the subject line is kite. Come on. Oh, without a doubt. Let's I can just share this tab, I think. There we go. I mean, just from that,
100%.
Can I? I can't really. No, but just from that, I can see the black wingtips and the fanned out tail. So yeah, that tells me black-shouldered kite. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Stan. We like that. I like getting stuff like that. And thanks, Murray, for sending me the scarlet myzomela or scarlet honeyeater, and lucky you for getting those.
Beautiful.
Oh, here we go. Stan also corrects us. Baby blackbirds, yeah, definitely. If there's fledglings that are hopping around on the ground and they're only like little chunky monkeys rather than full on blackbirds, yeah, they'll be grabbing them for sure. So good stuff.
Great.
All right, let's see if there's any good news, Holly. Have you seen anything interesting this last fortnight?
Have I? I don't think I have. I must have seen something interesting. There's some eastern rosellas around my place, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's nice because you don't usually have rosies around, do you?
No, very, very rarely. There's sometimes some crimsons and some easterns that turn up. So the easterns are around at the moment, which is nice. That's kind of about it. There's not a lot that I've noticed. Maybe I just haven't been outside much.
I've been seeing the pair of red rumps that live
over
near the bus stop where I catch the bus to go up to the supermarket. So they're back, just the pair. So they've got rid of the last year's young'uns. That's really the best thing that I've seen. Oh, did I tell you last time you were on about the silver eyes? I'd seen silver eyes.
Yes, you did.
Which was a newbie for me, but they're obviously on their migration because they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now Shane's got some news for us. So Shane just joined Birdlife Southern Highlands. Well done for joining the local group. Latham snipe count at Bowral Botanic Gardens. Now that's cool, isn't it? So
yes.
21 Latham snipe counted. That's great, with 19 other bird species recorded.
Wow.
Shane, did you get the various craiks that everyone has been latching onto lately? Balin's crake, spotless crake, spotted crake. I'd be interested in that. And Stormy, H2 Rider, Eastern Coel. There we are. The devil bird. The devil bird is here. I haven't heard it here yet, but I was watching somebody on a live stream who is in northeast Victoria, and I could hear the Coel while they were doing a live stream talking to someone. I could hear it in the distance, and I thought, oh, they're not sleeping for a while. So that was cool.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so for those of you who might have come in a little bit late to join Holly and I today, we wanted to get an idea of what you think we could do to be positive about encouraging people to leave remnant vegetation on their properties. And this includes the homeowner, the real estate investor. So
that's the challenging one.
So it's the homeowner, the real estate investor, the more general property developer, like someone who is doing greenfield sites on the fringes, and that would include, I guess, people who are carving up their farm to to provide their retirement income, subdivide off, maybe a quarter or a third of the farm, so that you can make all your money forever off selling off the real estate, and then you can be a pretend farmer that you don't need to make any money for the rest of your life, but you can still say, I'm a farmer. I wondered whether there is some way, and what got me thinking about it was the typical, was on last night and again on this morning on a different network. Oh, potholes, because the Grattan Institute released a report that councils aren't repairing roads anymore. Well, councils don't repair roads because in most states don't allow them to increase rates by more than about 4%. They need to apply for permission. Certainly in Victoria, we've still got that sort of rate freeze on without, and except they have to ask basically permission the state government. No one wants to pay more rates. No one wants to pay more taxes. So nothing gets done. Because it's a bit more expensive to repair a pothole these days than it was 20 years ago. I don't know if anyone sort of noticed that, because things have gone up. There's like inflation and stuff. So that story came up and I thought, okay, well, is there a way to make it a positive to retain the dead tree with a hollow in it, or the big eucalypt that drops gum nuts, which is a real nuisance for some people, How do we encourage people to retain vegetation rather than tell them they can't do something? If we can make it worthwhile for them to do it. So, could we offer a rebate on rates? Are we at that point where we have to say habitat is so valuable that we can actually forego revenue to preserve habitat? That was really the point I want to get your comment at, Holly. Do you think we're at that point where the community values habitat in a way that we can forego rate income by giving people a rebate or a discount or a credit for retaining like individual important plants.
Yep.
And then go a step further, and if you were planting your nature strip out with indigenous grasses and a couple of an indigenous shelter belt, something that's not particularly beautiful in the way of plants, like maybe goodenias or basserias, or depending on which part of the country you're in. Do you reckon it would work, or are we not there yet?
Look, I think question with a lot of different stakeholders, and so a lot of different answers. So I don't think there's one size fits all by any stretch with if you're considering a homeowner versus an investor versus a property developer. All of those have very different motivations. They all have very different end goals.
All right.
So there's no one size fits all for
that's
that.
definitely right. So who is the most important group to get to urgently, and this is the point, because I think it's urgent, to urgently stop removal of vegetation? Is it the large developer? Because then we're talking about offsets and remember, we spell offsets BULLSHIT on this show. That's how we spell offset. Or is it more important to get to the people who are buying those subdivided blocks when they are just bare? Like, because they all go and spend 10 or 12 grand on some useless, pissy landscaping with a path and a bit of paving and some, you know what I'm talking about. A row of a couple of dietes or something up the path, and some boxes, and that's the typical first homeowner quick sell, crappy, useless from an environmental habitat point of view. So would it be better to say, all right, if your rates are $2,000 a year, is habitat so important now that we can say for 10 years you get a 50% reduction on your rates if you plant these plants, and then each year you have to prove to us that they're still there?
Yeah, well, I think that's the key. I think it's around that sort of ongoing incentive, because that's otherwise there has been, I can't remember the exact location, but I was told of a situation before years ago where there was that incentive in a development for planting natives by the individual owners, and they would plant the natives, get the discount, or it was a cashback or something, and then take them out. I can't remember the exact location, but
natives is not that's where it gets difficult, isn't it? Because then people in Wollongong are planting beautiful West Australian plants.
Yeah. So by me saying natives, that's not. I'm not trying to.
No.
Say that it's just any native. I can't remember the specifications of that particular example. Look, I think there's a couple of layers there. I think ultimately what we're needing is better designed spaces in those peri-urban fringes. So it's at that developer level where it might be incentives for the developers, but I think there also needs to be a stronger legislative framework around what can be cleared and the value of native vegetation and how to maintain it within those spaces. So I think there does need to be that framework of requirements for developments to meet certain obligations and not be relying on offsets. I think that's ultimately conserving those bigger patches, ensuring connectivity, keeping the big old hollow-bearing trees in the landscape is kind of if you can set things up at a good level first up. I think then you have much more of a I would suggest it would be much easier for individuals to then buy into that, the look of the landscape around them that they're buying into. Because I think when you are going into those developments, you're very limited in space. They have the lawn and the couple of plants probably because they have a massive mortgage. They don't have the time to maintain a garden. They don't know how to maintain a garden. They're commuting most of the time to be able to afford the mortgage on the house that they've just bought. And then there is the space. Like there just isn't the space available in a lot of those places to maintain, a bird-friendly or wildlife-friendly space that they know how to do. And I think that's a bit of a thing too. It's that lack of education and awareness of how to do it. I think ultimately that responsibility to set up that is at the developer level. I do think that it would be really interesting to explore incentives for people to maintain and plant. I think there's two arguments. There's maintaining the vegetation that's there, and then there's also the adding vegetation in spaces. And so I think there's some good examples around of where that's happening. Like my local council has you can get a free street tree. You can select from a range of different, from locally native through to, they do have exotics that you can plant, but they do provide those locally native options. They also have a road verge planting program as well. So you're allowed to plant out, and they have suggestions linked back to the council nursery. And I think that's a really good example of how to positively inspire community to do some of that work. I think it would be really interesting to see how some sort of rebate system would work. I think from our perspective, I think we can sit here because we're interested in this sort of stuff and go, this is great. That's a really good thing to do. For other people, it's hard to know without sort of, doing the background research what people's motivations would be. Is it a purely financial thing? Do they just not know how to do it? Like, where's the barrier for people?
This is where I get frustrated, because if a council's got an environment officer or a planning officer and they're in the same department,
they're not usually in the same department though.
But
they're often in different departments.
But shouldn't, I mean, for any council that's got a biodiversity policy, isn't that research something that they should be doing? What frustrates me, as coming from a horticultural background and looking at design, is this idea of giving away one street tree is just bullshit, right? It's nice. It's a nice thing to do, but in terms of having any value as habitat, it's just bullshit. It would be better.
No, I don't agree.
You don't?
I don't agree. No.
Okay.
I don't think you can force people to go, if you're going to have street trees, you have to have 5. Like, that's not going to work.
No. That's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is, okay, giving people one on its own, and if someone gets one and they plant one in the nature strip and then don't maintain it or anything and it dies, that's a completely wasted effort.
Oh, absolutely.
And it also makes the person think, what's the point? Trees die. I can't do it. Whereas if there was, I mean, you would need to know how long do people occupy that dwelling, right, to think about. Say people are occupying, the first home buyer is occupying a dwelling for about 8 years. Well, then what you want them to do is commit to more than one plant. Rather than just give them one plant.
Yeah.
So that's where I think a rebate or a discount or something would come in, or give them a $200, $300 credit at the council nursery, and then give them the understanding of what they can do, and then give them enough to plant one garden bed solidly that becomes habitat. That's why I mean that one plant is bullshit, because 30% of them are just going to die, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably it's that amount. And then if it's in the street, unless it ties in with like an overall streetscape strategy, the chances are that what happened in my location is what can happen anywhere. In 10 years' time, there's a new, Parks and Gardens manager or whatever, and they come in and they just take out a range of trees that they decide are undesirable. So you're much better to try and get it all done on the private land and let the council manage the verges and come up with a policy,
I don't see why it can't be both, though, I think. I also, you're never going to solve it. There's always turnover in councils and there's always turnover in population. So I don't think you can count, I don't think writing off something just because there will be a change of policy potentially in the future.
That's exactly the frustration that I see. If there's a biodiversity policy, it should be something that is 20, 30, 40, 50 years looking ahead. So there should be a commitment to doing something that lasts longer than 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, And the reason I throw up this idea is I've been watching this stuff, I don't know, Kennett government down here. Before that, I'm not seeing individual home lots en masse becoming valuable places for birds. So my contention is what we're doing isn't working for that one baseline, that we are losing fairy wrens, thornbills, silver eyes, white-naped honeyeaters, right? But we are creating places that are good for red wattle birds, noisy miners, rainbow lorikeets, Australian magpies. But we're losing willy wagtails, grey fantails. So my frustration is, it's easy to do the feel-good thing. The feel-good thing is come down to the council 3 times a year on a Saturday, or come to the local library and we'll give you a plant. We'll give you a Callistemon salignus or a Callistemon whatever, right? That's the easy thing to do and the feel-good thing, and everyone goes, we've done our job and we've given everyone a native plant, and it's usually got a label with a eastern spinebill or a lorikeet or something on it, and everyone feels good. But in terms of what the supposed aim is, it's not a plus. It may in fact be a negative, because the birds that might be making use of it are the rainbow lorikeet and the noisy miner, they're not the birds that we need to be supporting.
Oh, absolutely. So, I agree with that. Entirely.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not disagreeing. All I'm trying to say, I think that we've got 40 years, 50 years, maybe 60 years of evidence saying what we've been doing doesn't work.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think... No.
So, and we've got really innovative programs like the floating wetlands and all that kind of stuff, which we're seeing working. But the birds that we're losing, which are the little birds, the little bush birds, we haven't come up with any way to maintain them on the city fringes and to encourage them back in to the city. It's only in really rare places that those birds are. We've got this really great long linear park that in the western suburbs here, which runs down that follows the main power line. So it's a big, wide, open reserve, but of course it's mostly cleared with the odd clump of vegetation. I walk down there regularly praying that I'll find a thornbill or a wren or a fantail, but I don't. But it's a really nice public open space for walking dogs and riding bikes and flying kites, which is what I see people doing in there.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm not saying we don't need places like that, but I just want us to. I don't know.
Oh, look, I absolutely agree. I think programs that would effectively create a space for people. Create all the tools that people need to put plants in the ground, funded by council, would be amazing.
And,
I think
this kind
it's
of
a
thing
complex space though, because I think there is individual
complex
motivations. There is, all that sort of stuff. I don't think it's just as simple as, having this sort of package that's funded. That, I still think there's a bunch of work to be done on how you actually motivate people to take that step and to do the maintenance and deal with the fact that, for the most part, we're not actually dealing with homeowners. We've got a bunch of renters. We've got a bunch of investment property owners. You've got renters that don't have a control over what goes on in their space. They can put some pots and things in because they can take them with them, but there's that high turnover, and there's you're talking about investors that don't want to have to do a whole heap of maintenance to their properties. They just want to be able to get the lawns mowed, and that's an whole another kettle of fish, really.
No, but that's essentially the nub of the issue. I think I haven't looked this up for a while, but I think about 3 years ago, the stat I heard was most homeowners, or no, not homeowners, because that tends to convey something that is a bit more feel good and positive. Most people who own, or most entities that own one residential property own more than three. So that gives you an idea of who homeowners are. And I think it might have even been more than five. So in most cases, homeowners or residential property owners are in fact property investors. They are in fact landlords. So all of that, exactly what you said, is the problem. But where I'm interested in and having a solution is the second step. The first question really is, have we got to the point where environment, retaining habitat is important enough to make the decisions that might disadvantage a powerful group like property developers and landlords? Because a lot of people are landlords without really thinking about the whole negative implications of being a landlord. So, and that's a whole different issue. But you're involved in policy development and seeing how things work. Are we at that nexus point where? No. How far do you think we are from it?
I don't know. I totally agree. Something needs to change now. I don't think the general non-environmentally leaning population is there yet, and I don't know.
It's one of the reasons why I get frustrated and grumpy.
Yeah.
In that we, I went down to the supermarket early this morning, and I had to go down and buy some glue, and that meant I walked down the hardware and the gardening aisle. And the number of products and the laundry detergent aisle I went in, and they're places I go twice a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Normally, because that's not usually what I'm buying. But so much stuff is the visuals and the language on the labels is all environment friendly, blah 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 blah, green, blah blah blah. But we're no closer with any of this stuff. We're no closer with recycling plastics or anything. We're no further down the track than we were when I did an environmental science unit in 1982. That's just a simple fact.
Yeah.
So the depressing thing, Holly, and this is where I wanted to open it a little bit more to tie in, and I was hoping that we would have had Daryl today to talk a bit about it, but a little bit about what his new book is about, and his earlier books, and that point that we've discussed a little bit about, should we feed birds and should we be encouraging? If we're at the point where we can't actually do anything about the urban habitat. And I suspect we're probably there. Are we actually
not sure I agree, but
yeah. No. Well, I think that's the thing where I mean, and I'm talking about generally the broad urban habitat. I'm not talking about specific places that aren't completely stuffed. But I'm just thinking broadly. No, we're talking about the 120 kilometre linear spread of the city of Melbourne. And one side is in a far better situation than the other side, and probably north and south too. We've probably got a chunk where maybe it's not completely lost. Are we better to try and foster a connection with nature with people, a really close personal one, rather than going to the zoo or whatever for your personal connection with nature? So should we maybe be trying to get people to care about birds by bringing them into the garden and feeding birds? And should we maybe be looking at trying to feed them properly rather than not feed them? And I'm not an advocate one way or the other on this. I'm not sold, but I'm not. But my concern is that that people are getting less of a relationship with birds every year as we are losing more and more habitat. I just can't see that we're and we're making it a thing where you go to special places to see birds. You take kids to the park to feed the ducks to see birds.
Oh, but that's always been a thing, Grant.
Yeah.
I don't think that's anything.
Well, in it's a little bit different in Britain, I think, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't want to say we can't win. I'm actually going that way. I'm just thinking we can't win. It's too late. I don't want to think that, but I can't see evidence anywhere that is pointing me past. Here's a few lovely oases in our urban areas that we can treasure. But even you go to botanic gardens and whatnot now, what do you see? Noisy miners, red wattlebirds, little wattlebirds, sulphur-crested cockatoos. And I got nothing against all these birds, but you're just not seeing the suite of honey eaters and things like that I used to see, and maybe you've got data that will say I'm wrong, but that's what my eyes tell me, and I don't know. Am I wrong? I mean, white-naped honeyeaters, all those kind of that kind of group of birds, the brown-headed honeyeaters, the I don't know, eastern spinebill. I'd kill for an eastern spinebill here.
Do I think that we have data that suggests that our urban spaces are becoming more homogenized? So we're seeing this sort of dominance of some of these species. That's not to say that there is not still great habitat in urban spaces for birds. We have a huge diversity of birds that are still found in urban landscapes. And, it's something like 30% of threatened EPBC listed threatened wildlife are found in towns and cities across Australia. So I think I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater and say it's all just gone. It's not all just gone. Good. It's still in a decline, and it's still, I don't think we will ever get to the ideal town or, urban landscape, Grant, that you and I envisage. I don't think that will ever happen. But what is our best? I think we can still aim for sort of a best outcome that is better than what we have now. I'm trying to think of how to phrase some of this. Certainly there's sort of areas that need to be focused on. And I think a lot of this is not necessarily in terms of convincing people to create habitat for birds or wildlife. It's not always going to be, people are always not always going to be motivated by do it for the birds. Like, that's not going to gel with some people. It's around doing it for selfish reasons. It's because it'll, having some trees and shrubs shading your house will lower your electricity. It will, having trees, nature outside your front door is good for your mental well-being. There's a bunch of evidence now about impacts of that. So I think there's a way for us to better integrate creating spaces for wildlife with social and mental health policies, and like really improving spaces that are going to benefit people, like selling it on the people aspect, but also then we sneak the birds in. I don't think
that's why. That's why I wonder whether we need to do the carrot aspect to make people feel like it's valuable for them.
Yes.
Because we've got to be honest that most people buy a house in Australia. Our whole economy is based on the investment that you make in a home. Everybody's well-being pretty much is tied up in that. So we need to make the it maddens me that a home is easier to sell when there is not one stick of vegetation around it, compared to having a really valuable piece of habitat, because people see that, the old traditional bush garden as being hard to maintain, or it limits my choices to do something else with it. So the next best thing is to have nothing there. The open, the completely blank canvas, right? And I don't know how we change that sort of attitude. And that's why I tie it back to we don't value having the wildlife around us. We still think that you experience wildlife out there, at the park, at the zoo, at the local wetlands. That's where. So we've still got it. You go out there. I don't need it here. I don't need it here. And that's where I wonder about the nexus. And this point Vicky makes is really interesting too, because while people will often look at the habitat loss in development or in just renovating gardens, in just pulling everything out and going and putting in a Japanese garden or something, which was all the go, 15 years ago, wasn't it? Everyone was pulling everything out and putting pebbles in, or Paul Bango's hedges, So while we're losing habitat to natural disasters, and Vicky's made the point about 35 eucalypts since the 2020 floods, we're not in control of that loss. That loss is going to keep happening, the loss that Vicky's noticed.
Yeah.
So we're losing that, and we're losing the urban reservoir of remnant vegetation. So we're actually losing it double what most people notice, because you only notice what's right in front of you. So how do we make it valuable? How do we make it valuable personally to individuals?
Well, I think it's around that, constant exposure. It's talking to people. It's councils having programs out that, provide information, provide, experiences for people. It's, us at Birdlife doing things like the Aussie Bird Count, which raises profile and gets people to connect. There's a whole bunch of sort of basic education and engagement out there that is going on and needs to continue and ramp up. And it's around, getting better at how we target different people, understanding motivations that different groups have. Because, the general population is not just one uniform population as well. It's taking into consideration, a whole range of factors. It's continuing to push the message out there and try new things, try new ways of engaging people, getting as sort of public and as loud as we can around sort of getting people to notice what is right outside. And that's what I try and do. It's what I've been trying to do for a long time.
Yeah, no, and people need to understand. I'm not being critical of any efforts anyone is making, but what I am really concerned about, and look, I think 2017 I came up with the idea of the bird emergency because I thought it was an emergency. 2023 coming into 2024, no, it's a catastrophe. From what I'm seeing, because I'm still not seeing the value on and it's wildlife. It's not just birds. It's wildlife. Yeah. It's lizards. It's frogs. It's tadpoles. It's everything. Sticking insects, and so birds and butterflies and bees are really easy. They're always up there. But maybe we could pay a bounty for geotag it, like with iNaturalist or whatever, and you get $100 off your rates, or you get $100 credit at your council nursery on Indigenous plants if you have a bird nesting in your garden, because we're at that point where that's really quite rare.
Yeah.
Right? That's really quite rare now.
Yeah.
Here's another idea too, by the way.
Hello, Blackbird.
Yeah, hello, Blackbird. I think Murray thought it was a female. I reckon it might be it's male. Juvenile molting into male. I think it's molting into male plumage, and it's wet. It's scruffy. What else we got? Janice. I should have said hello, Janice, too. It's nice to see you again. So Janice said she disagrees with public feeding wildlife because it interferes with the balance of species. Now, while I agree with that, I also think that in most urban areas, the balance of species is already undone. So I'm not sure that the damage that we might do. Funnily enough, there's an episode I'm about to release with Alex Lees talking about this very issue. And I haven't come down one side or the other, but I'm not sure that the damage that we might do is greater in most urban settings than actually reconnecting people with birds. And like Daryl's book the new book is aimed to do, is to get people to understand or to know that, that bird there is not just brown bird or blackbird or big grey squawky bird. Actually start to connect, and then hopefully you then go insects, butterflies, mayflies, caddisfly, praying mantis, frog. Oh, it's a tree frog. Oh, it's a burrowing frog. Oh, once you start to connect, and it's, the field gnats, urban field gnats, the whole thing.
Yep.
Once you get into it, I don't think you leave.
No.
I don't think it's like you start ballet or pony club, but you don't keep up with that your whole life. Most people don't when they're introduced to it. But I think if you get into the first step of being introduced to nature, be it plants, everyone will have their own thing.
Everyone's got a thing, for sure.
But I don't think you leave it. I don't think you ever truly leave it. And I don't think that's really the whole point of bringing this up today, Holly. So, Now, how's your time? Can we take? Have we got any questions we can? Anyone wants to put to Holly? Well, we've got Holly here. I feel like I've had a good rant today.
You had a good rant.
I've been so grumpy about this. I get grumpy about this every time I watch any of the news programs, but where one thing will be, oh, it's really terrible. First home buyers can't afford property. And then the next thing in my news feed is the 25 suburbs where home buyers can increase their value by 20 or 40% or whatever ridiculous number they want to put on it. And you go, hang on. So one of those things is causing the other thing, right? The increasing value, people getting rich off property, is the very reason why first home buyers can't get into property.
Yeah.
But there never seems to be a connect. It's the same as we always see these lovely nature programs, but I never see anyone when they're doing it on any of the TV show say, don't cut stuff down, okay? You don't see any of these makeover shows where they've got a really straggly, dense, over-mature kind of garden, which might be really, really important for little brown birds. You don't see them go, well, actually, we'll keep all this and in front of it we'll put some nice things. They just go, oh, let's rip this shit out and put in this shit. So then you've got 15 years until it becomes valuable for nature. But it's tidy. So I don't know. And I understand why people do it for, I used to design gardens and worked in nurseries and worked in landscape. I understand why people do it. But I just wish that people felt that it was more valuable to leave some stuff alone than to rip it out so that it improves your resale value. That's where I wish we were able to get to. And Janice, I agree with you absolutely. The biodiversity emergency. I think we're way well past the emergency stage. I think we're at an absolute catastrophe tipping point. Oh, and Janice is giving us some care on Facebook. Okay, care's good. I've never had a Facebook care, so thanks for that. Holly, have you got anything you wanna say other than anything you want to say? I mean, I'm really loving my blackbirds around here and my starlings.
Are you?
Pretty well. It's all I've got, right?
Yeah.
I love the tree sparrows because of what I've got.
Yep, fair enough.
And my red wattlebirds, which are dominating and chasing everything else out. So we've got the red wattlebirds and the noisy miners because it's what I've got.
Yeah.
I'd love a white-naped honeyeater. I mean, how excited was I to see purple-crowned lorikeets? But they flitted in and they've gone. Right? They've flitted and they're gone. I got rainbow lorikeets. So.
Yeah.
I get really excited when I see a muskie or a little lorikeet.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Much more transient than the good old rainbows, though, just in general.
I was just going to say, I'm about to start planting some things in tubs that are all prickly and to see if I can actually see if there's any little birds in the area that actually can utilise something. I suspect it will be futile.
Yep.
But I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm just going to we don't have a vehicle, so I can use the half of the driveway. Housemate's got to get his buggy out, but half the driveway and half the backyard in pots. Hopefully a little bird will turn up that isn't a sparrow.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Okay. So what's happening in Birdlife?
So we're gearing up for the Australasian Ornithologist Conference in 2 weeks now.
2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
In
Brisbane.
Bris Vegas. So be good.
Yes. So
I wonder if any of the things are being live streamed, I wonder.
I don't think there's any live stream. Unfortunately. I think. but it should be good. There's 430 people or something registered. It's going to be really great. There's some great speakers, good talks. It's going to be very, very packed schedule, but I'm looking forward to it.
Hopefully some people will tell me about what happened after it's happened.
I will tell you about it. Absolutely.
Well, hopefully I'll get some of the presenters to tell us about what they want, what they were telling the academic community, and they can tell the non-academic.
Oh, look, the good thing about, one thing I really like about AOC is it's not academic community. It's a real mix of amateur ornithologists, professionals. We've got, academics, practitioners. Like, it's a really good blend of people. It's really not an academic conference at all.
Cool.
Cool. It's good.
Well, I think the Vic Biodiversity one's coming up too.
That's always a good one too.
I always like to keep an eye on. Conferences are good. Actually, what was the? It's not the I call it the Re-Veg conference, but you probably know what it's
Re-Veg conference.
What it's properly called. I'll think. It was the one that Habitat Mick Callan sponsored. Was it last year, the year before? I think it's a biannual one. It was in Orange.
Okay. Mick's speaking at AOC too.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole different thing, folks. Very last chance. Holly's got to rush off. Any questions or comments? What have you seen? Did we go over? We did go over what Shane saw, didn't we? Yes, we went over what Vicky
we did.
saw. Shane didn't see the Crakes. I think we've. Stormy's talking about his local bush care group. Yep. Bush care, land care, re-veg groups, friends of groups are great to be involved with, and people are making a real difference generally on public land, which is what where all these groups are operating. But most of the land in the city is not public land, so that's where I'm kind of hoping we can shift the needle a little bit more. I think our public spaces are much more bird and wildlife friendly than they were probably 15 years ago. Before a lot of them were just tidied up. I mean, we went through that phase where everything got super tidy. And well, in Victoria, I can't talk for the rest of the country, but when compulsory competitive tendering became a thing, low maintenance / no maintenance became the guiding force for most of the public spaces, and we lost a lot of small bushes and small bird and lizard and froggy kind of habitat and insect habitat just because it had to be tidy and clean. But I'd like us to be messy again. Please, let's get messy, everyone. Let's get messy. So, all right, Holly, Ace, I don't know.
Thanks.
Did we solve anything?
No. We keep plugging away. Like this is, it's really challenging. It's working in the urban space. It's all about the people. It's the birds are effectively secondary. Like it's really about the people. We have so many people with so many says on little patches of land. So it makes it a really challenging space to work in. But like I said, a really important space. There are hundreds and hundreds of bird species that use our urban spaces. And so I think we have a responsibility to create better spaces for them. And that's what, it's what we're trying to do. And it's what many others are trying to do, like bush care groups, really on the ground, creating habitat, talking to people, inspiring people, working with councils. There's some councils out there doing really great things. There are some councils out there who are doing not great things. but we keep pushing.
Oh, geez, should we?
No, let's not.
No, not a day when you're on. But I'd love people to tell me, are their council good at this stuff? I'd love to know around the country. Holly, how about are we looking good for 2 weeks' time?
No, because I'm in AOC.
Oh, you're at AOC, so maybe 3 weeks' time.
The 4th?
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. Let's lock that in. How about on the 4th we and I'll try and promote this as much as I can. People, tell us, do you have or have you had birds nesting in your garden?
Nice.
That's what I would like to know. Or if you're on a larger land holding, tell us about that. I would like to know about good news stories about birds nesting in your garden, your investment properties, maybe your noisy miners that I just Indian miner that I just heard in the common miner. They've got to get it right, don't I, Holly? That's a common miner I just heard at your house.
Yep, always.
Maybe they've been nesting. Tell us any of that, and if you've got photos, that would be really, really, really cool. Oh, your place is noisy today. Am I frozen on your screen? Oh no, I'm back. No, okay.
You're back.
Just my computer. Thanks, everyone. Holly Parsons, Urban Birds Program Manager. Are you doing anything special at AOC? Are you speaking?
I am. So I am running. So myself and one of my colleagues, Ashton Berry, are running a workshop the day before the conference officially starts, which is going to be a bit of a, interestingly, let's throw out ideas on how we better educate and engage people in birds. What can we pull together in a toolkit? So we're going to have a session on that. And then I am doing a session with Sean Dooley and Daryl Jones. We're doing a lunchtime chat about the urban book that Daryl has just got out. And then I am also running a symposium on education and conservation action, and we'll be speaking about our gang work in that session.
On the 4th, can you do your basically a summary of your
sure
the day before session?
Yeah,
I really loved
sure.
About the ideas. Let's see if we can get some.
I'm really excited. I'm kind of going, let's go like blue sky. What do people want? If they or we are going to be talking to people about birds and how to help birds in urban spaces, what sort of resources do we need? What can we put in a toolkit?
I mean, I think where I'm at is that we've, I feel like we've had this massive big whiteboard that we're all doing things on. And I think maybe it's time to just wipe it completely off and go, okay, step 1, ? Because I just feel, and I don't want people to think that I don't recognise the amazing work on public land too, amazing work on public land. But I really still think there's a real disconnect about the value of not wildlife. I think people connect with the value of wildlife, but I don't think my neighbours connect that the wildlife need the stuff that you just took to the tip. The trailer load of stuff that you just took to the tip is actually what wildlife needs, and I think that's where I see the frustration. So anyway, but I could be wrong because I'm just some idiot with a microphone sitting on their ass talking that shit. So I could be really wrong. Here we go. We got some thanks.
Nice.
Lots of birds nesting in my area. Grey butcher birds. Okay. Photos, please, or make some notes for the 4th when Holly will be back with us. The 4th of Christmas. Hang on. No, it won't actually be in the days of Christmas, will it? That will be like the -3 day of Christmas, I think. The 4th. So yeah, think of those ideas. Holly, have a great time at AOC.
I will. I'm excited.
I kind of wish I'd got my shit together and I was going, but maybe,
I will report back.
Maybe next time. Yeah, well, maybe next time. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Right, Squad. Love ya, as we all say. And we'll see you with Holly again on the 4th of December.
Bye.
Ciao.